What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid-techno, and indeed we're back with another System Rejects track. I listened to a tune by OB1 called Fuck Das System. I think that was System Rejects 7? Maybe 5? I'm not sure. I don't think it was 6. I think that's the one with Audio Pancake. But nevertheless, I have talked about this label before, but it's sort of a anarchistic, anti-establishment techno collective. Originally started by 4 people. As I mentioned before, I'm not sure if Matt Knight is still involved because he hasn't been on the last couple records, though he did comment on the reaction I did to his tune on the most recent Stay of Forever Super Limited, which is really cool. I was very happy that he appreciated that reaction, and as I mentioned in that reaction, I enjoy his tunes. They have slightly different flavor, but they're like very acid wild and so on. But nevertheless, we're going to listen to another tune by Olly, OB1, super cool techno producer, and also cool dude. I've talked to him on a few occasions on social media and even here on YouTube. Has some cool videos of like hardware, like oscillation and so on his channel, so go check out OB1's YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like I said, just a cool person and a great producer. So we're going to listen to a tune that he did on the original System Rejects release, the very first one, which was 2013. It's a tune called Factory Grade. I do think it's my favorite on the release. When I first got the record, I was sort of equally excited by this and MK303's 303. But over time, the way that sort of tunes evolve in your brain and so on, I do think Factory Grade is probably the best track on the opening release, but they're all good. I mean, I really do like all 4 tracks on the opening record. I do have to mention, I apologize, I know these are limited records, but sometimes when I just get really blown away by a tune, I decide, you know what, I'm going to get 2 copies of it. So I do in fact have 2 copies of the first one. I have number 21 and number 42, and 21 is half of 42, so it sort of feels appropriate. I'm not sure. But like I said, shout out to the System Rejects, and I apologize for being a bit of a greedy person, but sometimes when you really like a record, part of it is that you want the ability to mix from one tune on the record into another tune on the record, and if you don't have 2 copies, and you're mixing vinyl rather than digitally, where you could obviously do that, well then if you have 2 records, you can do it. So that was my initial thought. Nevertheless, I'm a huge fan of the label overall and the people involved with it. Shout out to Tacit, I've reacted to several of his tunes. Shout out to Austin Corrosive. So here we go. This is OB1 Factory Grade. By the way, Disrespect All Authority is written on the tag there. I love that. But yeah, this is OB1's tune Factory Grade on the original System Rejects release, System 1, or it's Reject 1, sorry. And the name of the tune is Factory Grade, as I said. So here we go. Whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves. My first thought when I heard this, and I'm trying to remember which one came out first, whichever one came out second, between this and his tune on the second Brain Gravy, which is called We Will Get Fooled Again, and samples Jello Biafra. Shout out to Jello and the Dead Kennedys. I remember thinking, ooh, these 2 would go together. They kind of have a similar bass line, not identical, but similar. And yeah, I do think I've used them in a mix together because I think they blend really well. And this tune, even though it doesn't sample, punk rocker, it has this sort of like muckraking vibe. Oh, hear that sort of like laser. Now we had a high bleep. We had that sort of synthesized, digitized voice, Factory Grade. And now these little acid gurgles. Ominous, right? Like, there's a foreboding to the tune. Oof. And we're truly rocking. Number 1, I like the groove of those acid gurgles. I like that harder, sort of sharper acid layer. Already chirping a little higher. Back. amplified is even more like dissonant and perhaps dissonant. Love the hats coming in the way they did there. Made the tune even a little more slick in that moment. Cymbals performing a similar function there. The factory grade vocal is now being like dissected and like fragmented and sort of layered. And meanwhile the acid is stabbing, gurgling, whipping around. Sharp and high, deep and low. He's like, yeah, you want deep and low? I'll give you that. I mean, this tune just has a menace, but it's like, again, in a sort of like mischievous way. It's muckraking, as I said. Wicked. First time I got this, or when I got the first copy of this, and you know, sometimes I record MP3s of the record and then I think about how I'm going to use it. This one I think I went straight into a mix that night. I remember rocking the fuck out at this drop. Just like, holy shit, let's go. Oh, the like really high like electric layer. Lasers. Lasers are like electric birds chirping away, I'm not sure. Some computer bleeps again. Come on. Adding to the sort of malfunctioning, you know, off-kilter vibe. Acid just gurgling away, chirping away. High percussion coming in to dance about. It's like the acid-techno equivalent of a Subhumans track. And that's like, when I tell you that's about as high a praise as I can give for any piece of music, but oh, that deep one again. But there's like a like high accent too. It's because again, when acid layers start blending together, it's like it becomes this big, large acid phrase, but it's constructed of parts. This tune never stops rocking the fuck out. Take a bow, Olly. This is like, it's almost a decade later. This remains a masterpiece. Is that a snare roll? There's some sort of like, you know, proper drum roll or flourish. Feels like we're stripping down, but like no, we like kick it in a little more with the percussion. Acid still firing, if a bit cooler than a couple minutes ago. The computer malfunction bleep still doing work. Unbelievable. Honestly, as I said, all 4 tunes on that record are rock solid, but I do think that's my favorite, first among equals, if you will. There's a reason I have 2 copies of that record. I don't think, there's only one other System Rejects I think I have 2 copies of, and it's the most recent one. I think it's System Rejects 9. Yeah, I got a copy of that, and I was so fond of it that I thought, you know what, I do want the ability to mix from one tune on it into another tune on it. So yeah, the first and most recent System Rejects, I actually have 2 copies. I do apologize, I don't mean to be greedy, but yeah, sometimes you recognize quality and you just want to get a second copy. So nevertheless, let me know what you think of the label. Like I said, you know, it's great music, but also I support the ethos, and you know, again, I know at least a couple of the people on a like semi-personal basis, you know, long distance through social media and so on. But yeah, the interactions that I have had with the System Rejects are great, and they do seem like very cool people. So shout out to them for their music and the label and sort of the progressive ethos that surrounds the label. I think it's dope. Nevertheless, let me know what you think about the tune. Let me know if for you, you know, a different one. I remember talking to a friend of mine from Poland, Marcin. He was saying I think that the tacit tune for him on this one is the absolute like bomb. I may come back for that one, but there's a couple other tacit tunes actually that I've been meaning to get to that I might do first. But regardless, we may come back for that one because shout out to Marcin. You know, the reason I started doing videos on my own is because he showed me how I could sort of edit the videos together, because I used to ask him to sync the audio and the video of my DJ mixes, which I was doing on my other channel for years. And then in recent times I started doing, he showed me how I could edit them myself, and once I realized I could do that, it was like, well, maybe I could do these reaction videos, and you know, I got a little push in the back from a couple people, and I was like, you know what, alright, I'm gonna do them. So in a way, Martian is why I'm sitting here now, so I think that might be a cool tribute. Nevertheless, let me know what you think about the record or any other acid techno that you'd like to hear me react to. I really do appreciate the people watching and listening. Have a good day, have a good night. I'll see you next time. Peace.